using Illustrator to create a vector landscape. To give you an idea of what a vector landscape is, I pulled up a quick Google search, and as you can see, there are so many different variations of this. You can do different color schemes, different types of landscapes, add effects like fog, clouds, stars, even small details like boats and reflections. So it really gives you a chance to be as creative as you want. All right, so to start, we're going to go ahead and go to Adobe Illustrator. You can find this program listed in your Launchpad. So here it is in the second panel of our Launchpad. You're looking for a program called Adobe Illustrator, or capital A with a lowercase I. If you like, you can take this icon and drag it onto your dock, so that way it's always easy to locate, since we'll be working with Illustrator a lot this quarter. All right, so I already have it pulled up, so I'm going to go ahead and click back to it and expand my window to make it easier for you guys to see and follow along. All right, so to start our vector landscape, I'm going to go ahead and click on Create New. And it's just taking a second to load. All right, to begin, I'm going to go ahead and give my document a title. So I'm going to call it Vector Landscape underscore, you guys are going to put your name. I'm going to go ahead and set my document to pixels for this project. So I'm going to use that drop-down menu and select pixels. I'm going to set the width to 1,000 pixels and the height to 1,500 pixels. As far as the orientation goes, you can decide if you want your picture to be vertical or horizontal. It's up to you. Depending on which one you click, these numbers might switch. For my demonstration today, I'm going to go ahead and go with a vertical. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on Create. It's going to take just a second for it to load. All right, here we are with a fresh, brand new page. This page is also referred to as an artboard. I'm going to go ahead and press Control- once on my keyboard to make sure that the artboard is centered inside my workspace. All right, to start, I'm going to go ahead and find the rectangular tool. So right now, it happens to be hidden behind my ellipse tool. Yours might not be. Yours might be already a rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and right-click on this because behind my rectangle, or behind my ellipse tool, is my rectangle tool. You can right-click on any of these tools that have little triangles in the corner, and there's extra tools hidden behind them. So again, I need the rectangle tool right now. I'm going to go ahead and line this tool up in the corner and draw a rectangle going all the way across my artboard. All right, now I'm going to fill this shape in with a gradient so that my landscape has sort of a sunsetty sky effect. So I'm going to click on Fill over on the right side of my screen. I'm going to select this orange to yellow gradient called Gold Dust. Now, these aren't the colors that I want. I'm going to go in and change the colors, and I also want my gradient to go from top to bottom, not left to right. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and click on Gradient Options. When I click on Gradient Options, this menu pops up. First thing I'm going to do is change the direction of my gradient. For my purposes, I'm going to select 90 degrees. You're welcome to play around with this. There are many different options to choose from. Pick the one that works for your picture. The next thing I'm going to do is change the color of my gradient. So I'm going to click on each of these different circles. When I click on it, another menu will pop up. This is my color changer panel. So I'm just going to sort of play with these sliders and get the colors that I want. So I think I'm going to start with sort of like a dark, maybe kind of purpley blue color. There you go. Okay, I really like that color, so I think I might make it just a hair darker, but Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this. So, all right, when I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and click out and click on my next circle, double click, menu pops up. Once again, adjust your sliders accordingly to get whatever colors you'd like to have included in your project. I think I'd like it to fade into sort of a bluer sky, so. All right, next one, double click on my next circle, go ahead and pick another color. I really like the way that looks, but I think I want it to be a little more blue. All right, and then my last color, double click, and this time I'm gonna go with a really dark blue since it's more the top of the sky. At this point, all of the colors are changed. You can sort of play around with the way the colors fade into each other. If you want them to be more equally spread, just sort of adjust the different colors, playing around with where they're at on the slider. All right, when you're all done with that, go ahead and click out, and that's it. Our sky is now set. Now we're going to go ahead and move into our second part of the tutorial, which is adding some mountains. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and grab the pen tool. And using the pen tool, I'm going to go ahead and create some mountains. So I'm going to start by adding my first anchor point and dragging up and then drawing a curve. You can do this a few ways. You can click and drag and make curves like I am, or you can certainly just make lots of little points too to make your mountains as well. Whatever is easy for you. At this point, everyone's still learning, so you need to, work in a way that makes sense to you. Then I'm going to go ahead and click down, click in the next corner, and then click back up to close the path by clicking on the first anchor point where I started. All right, I don't really want the mountains to be a gradient or a matching gradient to my sky, so I'm going to go back to my fill, and I think for this one I'm going to just pick a nice solid color. This is a good starting point, but I want it to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to use the color panel to go in and change it a little bit more. All right, I like that deep blue. That looks good. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and draw a second set of mountains. So once again, I'm going to use my pen tool, and I'm going to create, I think this time I'm not going to make them so dramatic. I'm going to make them a little smaller, maybe more like hills. And then once again, come down to my bottom corner, go across, and then come back and click on the anchor point where I started. This time, I'm going to go back to my fill and pick a slightly lighter color. So I think I'm just going to brighten up this blue just a tiny bit more. So it's not a lot lighter, it's just maybe just like a shade or so. You're also welcome to play around if you don't like solid colors. If you want to play around with some gradients, you're welcome to go ahead and click back on your swatches and select a gradient, and just like we did with the sky, you can change it the way we did in the background. Since I don't want to do that, since I want to stick with my brighter blue, I'm going to go back and click Edit Undo. All right, last thing I'm going to do is add a third set of mountains. So we have sort of this like background, middle ground, and foreground. So once again, I'm going to go back to my pen tool, and this time drawing almost flat range. I'm then going to come down, go across, and back up. Go back to my fill. Make the color again a little bit lighter. All right, that looks good. So my last step, I have these sort of like dark outlines on my mountains, which I don't really want because they're sort of a dead giveaway that you know, it's a flat shape, and I want eventually it to have sort of a 3D effect and look shaded. So I'm just going to use my direct selection tool, click on each of the mountain ranges, and then come over to where it says stroke and change this to a 0. And I'm going to do the same thing with my bottom set of mountains, change it to a 0. And since I accidentally skipped over my top range of mountains, oh, that one actually is already canceled out. So, all right, I'm all set. I'm going to go up and click select, deselect to turn in this section of my work. Oh, look, I forgot a line here. I need to make sure really quick. Delete that. Okay, select, deselect. To get credit for this section of work, I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot that I can turn in on Echo. So to do that, I'm going to press Command Shift and the number 4. And then I'm going to take my little square and drag it over my screen. It's going to make a screenshot, all done. And then I can turn this in on Echo. Since I'm going to continue working on this next period and add in different effects like stars and a moon or a sun, I'm going to go ahead and click File, Save As. Should already be titled since you gave it a title when you open the document. I'm going to pay attention to where it's saved. I want to make sure that it's saved in my Project 8 folder. So I'm going to open this up, go to my desktop, make a new folder, call it Project 8, or 9 or 10 or whatever project it is that you're working on. In this case, it is Project 8. Click Create, and then go ahead and click Save. Next time I come to class, I'll be able to open this up and continue working. Click OK. All right, that's it, guys.